What's going on, my MGTOW brothers? This is Blue, the recovering beta male, and I would like to welcome you all to another installment of the Recovering Beta Male podcast, where we are all about empowering men through enlightened self-interest. If you find this content to be of any value to you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your fellow MGTOW brothers. And now, let's get into the episode. What's going on, my MGTOW brothers? This is Blue, the recovering beta male. And welcome to another podcast episode. I want to talk about something a little personal here because I think it's going to help a lot of you. It's going to put some things in perspective. It's going to give you some encouragement and some motivation to just keep going, bruh, because that's what it's going to take for you to transition from being a beta male to being more, I guess, alpha, if you want to call it, or just being a more purpose-driven male. Okay, so this particular thing that I would like to share with you all is a particular date that I was on some time ago. I was on a date with a young lady, and thinking back on it, it's almost kind of cringeworthy, you know, because I just think about Well, let me just drop something here on you real quick. The reason why I call my channel The Recovering Beta Male is because that's a true statement. If you are a beta male, especially if you've been one for a long time, it is going to take you a while to undo all of that conditioning and that programming. In fact, a lot of it may remain with you for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, you know, it's sad to say that. And I don't mean for this to discourage you or make you feel like it's hopeless if you're trying to become more alpha. All I'm saying is that you are definitely going to have to be patient with yourself, because this date that I was on, you know, I do a lot of introspection. I pay attention to my internal processes a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time as I go about my day, I'm paying attention to how things affect me, the thoughts and feelings that I have about certain things, certain opinions that I have. I'm observing all of my internal processes, or at least as many of them as I can, while still remaining in the moment. And so I was on this date with this young lady, and we were out together, and I was just paying attention to how my beta male conditioning, I just had to keep checking myself, because over and over and fucking over again, I so wanted to just cater to her. I mean, let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. So we went to the movies, we had dinner, we had some drinks. Well, on the way to the movies, you know, I'm playing my stereo in my car, and I like to have my music a little loud, you know, and I mean, it was rocking, it was kicking, and that's the way I always drive, with my stereo cranked up. But I had this chick in my car, and I did resist the urge to do this, but I was paying attention to how the urge kept coming up in me to ask her, is this too loud? You want me to turn this down some? Is that too loud? Now, that might sound innocent. That might sound polite. That might sound like a very nice thing to do. That's the whole fucking point. A nice thing to do. Key word, nice. The bitch is in my goddamn car. I mean, why the fuck, you know, I'm not saying like I gotta blow her fucking eardrums out, but if that's how I like to roll in my fucking car, Why should I give a shit if she thinks it's too loud? I mean, I'm just saying, look, had she came out and asked me, what, put yourself in this situation. You're in the car with a chick. She asks you to turn your music down, even if she does it in a very sweet, polite, and innocent way. She asks you to turn your music down. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, are you going to turn your shit down? Or are you going to say, no, just leave it where it's at. It's fine. I like it like that. See, this is what is often referred to as shit testing. Okay? This stuff comes off real subtle, real innocent, and on the surface it might not seem like nothing. But I guarantee you, you turn your goddamn music down, she'll be trying to get you to do other shit. And she'll keep coming at you in the same fucking way, real sweet, real innocent. And the more you keep complying with her requests, see, she's picking up on the vibe that you a nice motherfucker. You one of these guys that, she can just run over. You don't let no bitch tell you to turn your fucking goddamn radio down in your goddamn car. I guarantee you, if the roles were reversed, you were in her fucking car, you could not get her to turn her music down. Now, getting back to my situation, I didn't turn my music down, and she didn't ask me to. In fact, I think she was enjoying it, but I was paying attention to my feelings and my urge to just please, to acquiesce, to please, to cater to. You see what I'm saying? Beta male bullshit. Then we get to the fucking movies. We get to the show, right? And you know how, as you're purchasing your tickets, they ask you where would you like to sit, because a lot of times certain seats are reserved. So I'm looking at the screen and I know right away where I want to sit. Because, anytime I go to the show, I usually like to sit pretty close to the screen. But again, I had to check myself because I wanted to ask the lady, the girl that I was with, where would you like to sit? You want to be closer to the screen, or you want to be in the back, or you want to be in the middle, or you want, like, dude. And I'm paying for this shit, by the way. I'm paying for the show. The man always pays. That's the rule of dating. The man always pays. So I'm paying for the fucking movie, and I'm sitting up trying to give her the option of saying where we should sit at. Now, again, I checked myself. I didn't do it. I didn't give her that option. I didn't ask her shit. I picked out the seats, and we sat where the fuck I wanted to sit. But I can tell you firsthand, the whole time I was uncomfortable, mildly uncomfortable. I wasn't to the point to where I couldn't even enjoy the movie. But yeah, I was uncomfortable having that attitude of just, no, we're going to sit where the fuck I want to sit. And I'm going to get to in a minute where all of this shit comes from, man. The conditioning that happened to me that, put me in this place of being this way. That's why I said being a recovering beta male. And there were a few other instances on the date that took place where I just had to keep checking myself. It's like, dude, don't ask her what she wants to do. You're the man, you're leading, you're paying for every goddamn thing. You decide. You lead. You run the fucking show. Damn. I don't know, brothers, if this is your deal, if you suffer from this or deal with this on a regular basis. If you do, first of all, my advice to you, try as best as you can to not be too ashamed of it, because this is the epidemic now. This is the beta male epidemic. This is part of the reason why feminism has just gotten out of control. This is part of the reason why women are in the positions of power that they're in, because they have moved into their masculine energy. Men have moved into the feminine. We have become soft. We have become passive. and people pleasing and apologetic. I mean, it's fucking disgusting. I've said before that I'm pretty sure that men of generations past would be horrified to see their offspring today, to see their future generations. I mean, wow. It is fucking unbelievable. Where all of this started for me is where most things start for most people, in childhood. It's your conditioning. It's the training that you receive growing up. For me, I said in a previous episode that I was a caretaker for a sick parent, my mother. My mother was very sick growing up. And by me being the oldest child in our family, I had most of the responsibility of taking care of her. And that continued for a very, very, very long time. And a lot of it was due to the fact that, I love hard. People that are in my heart are in my heart, deep in my heart. And I will sacrifice and compromise and negate myself for a very long time in the name of trying to be there for the people that I love. Now, there were some other things that contributed to that situation as well. I'll go deeper into those in an upcoming episode. But yeah, man, love is a hell of a thing. When you truly love somebody, you will suffer for their namesake. And I went through for a very long time trying to carry my mother and just take care of her and make sure she was good and that she was all right. Now, you might hear that or look at that and say, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that was your mom, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, you goddamn right. It was my mom and loved her and still love her. But there are drawbacks to everything. Everything in life has pros and cons. Everything in life has advantages and disadvantages. And one of the main disadvantages of me having been in that particular situation for so long was that it trained me to be a pleaser. It trained me to be very service oriented. And you would think that that attitude would just be in connection to my mother, because this was somebody who I deeply and truly loved. But actually, that attitude pervaded a lot of other areas of my life. In fact, it bled over into my dealings with people in general. So especially, when it came to females, I was conditioned to please women, to do everything in my power to make sure that I did not piss off a woman. I also received a lot of reinforcement from other relatives, my aunts, my grandparents, even a lot of my uncles. They all told me the same thing, that I was going to be blessed and highly favored and taken care of for having been with my mother and doing all the things that I did with her, and for her for as long as I did. I have to say, I don't know. I don't know if I totally subscribe to that idea anymore. I just feel like, like I said, everything in life has drawbacks. And one of the major drawbacks to being in a caretaking situation, especially from a small child into an adult, I received a certain line of programming and conditioning that I found to be very unresourceful in my adult life. And there's a part of me that's a little irritated about that when I think about it. And with regards to this date that I was on, I kept seeing that pleasing mentality coming up over and over and over and over again. and it just made me sick. Now, the date went well, or at least I felt like it did. I mean, I didn't get any impressions from the lady that I was with at the time that she was dissatisfied. But I spent a lot of time reflecting on that date after it was over. And like I said, I still think back on it and cringe at the amount of times that I had to keep checking myself and reminding myself, hey, you're the man, you lead. You paying for every damn thing. You make the choices. You determine where y'all go to eat and what y'all do and you take the fucking lead. You be the man. And the reason I bring this story up and I tell this to you all is because, like I said, the name of this podcast, this channel is The Recovering Beta Male. And I call it that for a reason. When you have been in a certain place for so long, when you have adopted a particular behavior and lived in that place and that space for most of your life, it's going to be hard as hell to break those chains and to liberate yourself and to take on something else, something new, something different. And in fact, you may have points and periods of saying, is it really worth it? Why am I trying to change? Why can't I just be who I am? Well, you don't really know who you are, because who you are is basically your conditioning, your training, your programming, and your influences from your past. That is what basically drives the great majority of your actions today as an adult. So you don't even really know who the hell you are. So I would advise, first and foremost, be open, be willing to experiment with trying on a new face, trying on a new personality. It's going to be hard as fuck. I can tell you that shit right now. It's going to be hard. And you might give up. That's totally up to you. That's your choice if you want to do that. But as I just stated, everything carries pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. And what you have to do as an adult MGTOW male is that you have to decide what's it worth to you to invest in taking on this new persona, adopting some new habits, becoming a new and better version of yourself. Is it worth it to you to go through the pain and the drama and the trauma of constantly trying to undo all of that shit, man? It'll break you down. It'll break you fucking down. But see, that's why I started this channel, to offer support and encouragement for all the recovering beta males out there, because there's a hell of a lot of us, man. You are not alone. I am not alone. There's an army of these motherfuckers, man. The betas. Beta Nation in full effect. Yeah, man. This is the epidemic that we're in the middle of. And, becoming more alpha, I want to make sure that I address this as well. Becoming more alpha, more purpose-driven, a stronger, firmer man is not about being an asshole. It's not about being a jackass. It's not about being a chest-thumping, gorilla grunting, fucking idiot. That's not what this is about. To me, what I've learned, what I have experienced, and what I personally feel and believe is that becoming more alpha just simply means enforcing your fucking boundaries, whatever they are. So let's just say you have a personal rule that you don't spend money for women. You don't pay for dates. So like say you go out with a chick. You believe that you pay your portion and she should pay her portion. Every man's going to take this situation a little bit differently. Some men, like myself, I just go ahead and pay. I mean, it's no big deal to me. Because here's how I look at it. I'm investing in getting to know another person. And as long as I'm paying, I get to control what the hell we do. If she wants to have some choice and some say in what we do, well, then you got to pony up some money. But as long as you're willing to just go along with whatever I decide to do, okay, cool, I'll pay. You come along for the ride, I got you. You're good. But that's my attitude. But let's say, for example, that your attitude is you don't give a fuck what the situation is. If you don't know a bitch, you trying to get to know her, this your first date, even if it's the second date, even if you think you like her a little bit, you don't pay for dates until, a certain point. It might be after you done fucked or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what your rules are. But whatever they are, you got to be man enough to enforce that shit. You got to be man enough to say, hey, look, now, I don't pay for dates. If you're not willing to do Dutch, as they call it, then, we just need to go our separate ways. And that is going to turn some women off because a lot of women, they still have this mentality that the man pays. That's just the way it's always been. That's the way it's supposed to be forever and ever. Amen. But some guys are like, look, I don't do that shit. Fuck all that. This ain't 1945. I don't do all that fucking bullshit. So if you ain't willing to go Dutch, then fuck you. Well, hey, alpha means being able to communicate that to a woman. And of course, do it in a way that is still tactful and respectful. You don't have to be a dick about it, but it's just all about enforcing your boundaries, enforcing your personal rules that you have set for yourself. And this goes for your dealings with other men. It ain't just about how you handle women. When you deal with other men, you enforce your fucking boundaries. A motherfucker come in your house disrespecting your shit, tearing up your goddamn furniture, acting a fucking fool. You check that motherfucker. You tell him, say, look, you act like you got some goddamn sense in my house and you can get the fuck out of here. That to me is true alpha. It's not about, being a Neanderthal. It's just about having boundaries, not being afraid or ashamed to voice them and to enforce them to people who are blatantly disrespecting them. Another example of being alpha is expressing your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions about things, And this is some scary shit. This is probably the hardest thing for any of us to do, is to be totally open and honest about what we believe and what we feel about things. And this is definitely something that deserves an episode all by itself. But take some time to think and to contemplate what it is you truly believe or feel about any given situation. And pay attention to what you feel as you think about what you truly believe about something. And especially if you get nervous, if you feel yourself getting a little anxious, a little uptight, if you hear yourself in your head talking to yourself like you shouldn't think that way, you shouldn't feel that way, that's a sin, that's the devil, that's evil, you shouldn't, especially if you find yourself thinking and feeling that way, that is an indication that you probably need to explore that a little bit more. Look deeper into that. Why is it a bad thing for you to think that way or feel that way? Is it because it is really inherently bad to think what you're thinking, or you were told that what you're thinking was the wrong thing to think? You know what I mean? I mean, this stuff here that I'm talking about right now, this is the true essence of alpha, becoming an alpha male. And as a recovering beta male, man, you're going to run up against this shit every fucking day of your life. You'll constantly be put in situations where you're going to be challenged. And, it's like life is going to be testing you and saying, you going to man up today? You going to man up today? You going to act like a fucking man today? You going to be a man? You going to get your alpha on? Here's a situation. This motherfucker in your face talking shit. What you going to do? Not saying you got to fight and go around trying to whoop people's asses. All you're going to do is get your ass locked up on assault charges. But you can walk away. You can still do it in a dignified, manly way. You ain't got to be a bitch about it either. You know, you will be challenged if somebody presents an opinion or an idea to you that you totally disagree with. Are you gonna just go along and smile and, yeah, you know what, you're absolutely right about that, yeah, I never thought about it that way? Or are you going to come back at the motherfucker and challenge him and say, well, I don't necessarily agree with that, and here's why? You know, that's alpha. That's alpha, you know. So these are just some things to consider. My MGTOW brothers, as we recovering beta males work hard every day to transition into a more alpha mind state and way of living, these are some of the things that we're going to have to contend with on a regular basis. But I'm dealing with it just like you're dealing with it. It's a daily struggle for me as well. I'm not trying to act like I'm no damn guru that has conquered this shit. Fuck that bullshit. You know, this I am a recovering beta male. And I started this podcast and this channel to offer support and encouragement for all of those out there going through the same fucking shit, man. It's going to be a daily battle. But one day you're going to look up and you're going to say, damn, I done came a long fucking way. I might not be 100% alpha all the fucking time, but I have definitely came a long goddamn way from where I was. And that all by itself is gratifying, just to see that you've made some degree of progress. Keep going, brothers, because there's a lot more to come, and life gets so much sweeter on the other side. Just keep at it. So, until next time, my MGTOW brothers, this is Blue, the recovering beta male. This has been another episode of the Recovering Beta Male podcast, and I am your host, Blue, thanking you for taking the time to consume this content. And if it has been of any value to you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your fellow MGTOW brothers. Until next time, take care.